welcome to CS264 Software Design. This is Lecture 2 and Lesson 1. And in this short lesson, I'm going to provide an overview of how to access the live streams, a little bit about the lectures, a little bit about how to do it with Moodle, and I'm going to show you how to get started with setting up your environments for working with .NET and C# for this particular module. So it's not going to take too long to get everything running. The first thing it's important to realize is that for this particular module, everything really is accessed using Moodle, really. And so all the core details, everything would be at Moodle, and I'll provide links there so that you can access all the YouTube videos or any other resources that I put online. Those of you that have been with me before will know that I tend to put things up after I've done them, not really in advance. And you can access the module using this particular link here. And I'll supply this markdown document so that you can have a look at it yourself afterwards. So the module, the Moodle code is 1527. So everything will be there. That's lecture content, the assignments, the demo code that I have, any notes like these notes that I'm using on screen currently, and they'll all be available within Moodle. It's important to note though that this is my first time teaching CS264, so there's no pre-prepared content that I can just draw upon and send you already. Everything will be developed from scratch and uploaded. So so while I'm familiar with the material and the content, how I present it and give it to you as lectures will very much be done, a week or two ahead of you. Okay, what's important to note that this year is that I'm going to be using some live interactive lectures. And you saw an example of this in the first lecture. The plan is to deliver this lecture between 11 and 12 as a live stream to YouTube weekly on Tuesdays. So you can interact with me during this lecture then using the YouTube live chat as you did the other day, and I can interact with you using this too. And I'll also be able to switch between the various apps that I'll be using to be able to demonstrate the live code, and I'll be able to use something like Mentimeter to be able to get some in-class quizzes. And so hopefully it'll be a little bit more of an interactive experience as a way to replace the face-to-face lectures that we're not currently having because of the COVID restrictions. So when my plan is that when I start a stream, I'll do it about 5 minutes before the lecture begins, and you'll see a message saying that the stream will start soon. So the lectures normally go between 5 past the hour and 5 to the hour. So if I start at 11 o'clock, we have about a 5-minute window, and I just put a notice up there to say that the stream will start soon. I guess, as you saw the last day, what will happen is that before the lecture begins, I'll automatically send a tweet via my Twitter account to give you a link to the live stream. So you can keep an eye on the Twitter feed, you can set an alert to watch it or so forth, or you can just be there. But you'll see that you'll get a tweet from me that tells you, and me, I guess, where the link to the live stream is. So you can click on this link, and by default, it will show it to you within Twitter, so that's either within your Twitter app or whether you're looking at it as at some web page. But you can click right through, of course, to YouTube and have it from there. So what's important, I suppose, is that you can keep an eye on this at John Keating MU, and that will be the feed to watch. Okay, so you'll use that. You'll know that I've put some stuff on YouTube previously. So in order to distinguish between easily distinguish between last year's CS 230 content and the new 264 content, I've changed the background and the look. So you'll see this yellow splatter, paint splatter. So if you see this, you know it's 264 material. So you can go straight to the YouTube channel as well, of course, and here's a link to the channel in this document, and that YouTube channel will have all the videos. It'll have playlists. I'll organize them for CS264, and you can look at those, and you'll get a link there to the live stream as well. If you notice that this particular one, I actually just checked it out manually by going to YouTube, not logged in, just using the Opera browser, not subscribed to Google or anything, and you'll be able to still see the lecture. So even if you're not signed up to Google or YouTube or Twitter or any of that stuff, you'll be able to get the material and be able to engage. Right, so that's a little bit about the content, how to get there. So what else is important, of course, is that in order to make this work, I need you to be able to download and use C#. And in order to make that happen, with whatever system you're using, you have to download and install the .NET framework. Okay, now there are installers available for Windows, for Linux, for macOS, and I've used and installed the software with both Windows 10 and macOS, and it works just fine. So you can go to the website .net.microsoft.com/download. It's a secure site, and you'll be able to click on the link to say download the .NET Core SDK. That's software development kit is really important. It allows you to build apps, and I think it should be perfectly fine to have this. You don't need to have the advanced and every single .NET Core download. You'll notice that I'm using the one here for macOS, and you'll see that there are some available for Linux. You'll see there's some available for Windows, and there's some for Docker as well. So whichever your flavor of operating system that you're using, it'll be fine. So you should select it, run it, and run your installer. And when you're done, you need to open a terminal. So you can create a terminal or with macOS and Linux, and you can also just open a command window if you want to use Microsoft Windows for this. What's important is that when you get your prompt, you type in .NET, it's all one word, and you get something like this happening. You'll see that everything is work. You'll notice that you can check to see that you do actually have the SDK as opposed to the runtime environment by saying .NET --list -SDKs, and that will be fine. And that's it. That's everything you need to be able to get going to start working with this. I mean, if I go here, I can go, and you'll see that it works. It's fine for me, and I'll get the same thing on Windows, and it looks good. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is install VS Code. Now, I have VS Code installed here. I use it for all my app development. It's nice. It works under Windows, and it works under macOS, and nothing changes between the two different kind of operating systems. So you could actually use Visual Studio, which is a full IDE, but VS Code is enough for this particular module, so you don't need to do anything else. So I'd recommend using that one. So head to the download link here if you don't have it already, and I go to this one here, which is the C# page. So it's 2, and it'll give you a little link with how to work with C# within .NET Core and VS Code, and that would be fine. So that allows you to be able to run and set up and get working. Alternatively, you can go, and if you don't have the option to install on your own computer, or you don't have a computer to work with in your off-campus environment, and you do have access to the web, you can actually use REPL.it. And we've seen this before for some of our Node.js development last year. You can just click through on that link there, scroll down until you get to the C# page at the bottom, and that will take you directly through to a C# environment here. And you can see by default it creates a very simple app for you that you can get started with. Okay, I think that's just about everything to do with this. So once you get that working, and it's fine, once you can ensure that you have the .NET command available working here, everything should be good to go with developing apps using C# under .NET in whatever operating system you want. Okay, so that will be fine. If you have any questions about this, you run into any errors, you can mail me and it'll be fine. One of the things that's important, of course, is that you can start jumping ahead if you want and start looking at learning C# all by yourself. Microsoft do have a 10-minute video which is worth checking out, and I've included a link to it here. I mean, I'll be doing this in the next lesson, but if you want a different flavor, you want a different approach, you can always have a look at that. It's also useful because you'll use this .NET tutorial to find links to other training sessions. So it's a really good jumping off link for your own study. Okay, thank you very much for watching.